Hello once again, everybody. Welcome to Soccer's Overtime, your weekly look inside the San Diego Sockers and the Major Arena Soccer League, coming to you live on Twitch at San Diego Sockers on twitch.tv. Craig Elston, Jerry Jimenez, back with you. It is Tuesday night. This is our hangout. San Diego Sockers have won 18 straight games. Your Road Warriors coming home a perfect 12-0 away from San Diego. Now it's time to grab the shield. And that's this week's episode 21 of season 4, Battle for the Shield, taking place this Thursday at Pechanga Arena. Craig Elston with Jerry Jimenez. Jerry, you've definitely entertained all of our fans watching so far on Twitch and on YouTube. But now for all of our folks listening on podcast, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm in a good mood, even though I have a little bit of a raspy throat and I've been sneezing and coughing a little bit. It's like like a passing by like cold. It's nothing bad, I promise. But no, it's good to be here once again to recap 2 games finally. No, but I'm so excited. I finally received the notes from you, so I know what we're talking about, which is fantastic. 1 minute right before we start, Craig. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Excited for nothing if not organized. Yes, nothing if not organized. Done a lot of writing, done a little bit of podcasting today too. But I am thrilled to be here with you.
I'm being mean. I know. I'm just kidding. I'm totally. Yeah. Well, next time, maybe don't do that.
Coming up on tonight's show, it turns out the MASL has a shield, hence the title of today's podcast, and the Sockers are just about to win that bad boy. We will explain. The Walking Wounded head east and win 2, going to Baltimore and Utica and grabbing 6 points. We will be joined live. Oh my God, I'm so excited for this. El Vaquero rides again. Eddie Velez.
Sorry, I had to do another.
Back in the lineup. Hat trick. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
He had the Baltimore announcer so mad on Saturday night. Every time Eddie scored, he just went, "Oh no." I was dying. Was absolutely dying. So we're going to talk to Eddie about his triumphant return, riding in on horseback to rescue the Sockers at Ford. He will be our live guest coming up at 5:30 as we bring you the show on Twitch. Plus, we wrap up with MASL news and previews. We'll go back through a very important last week of the regular season. We will lay out specifically the playoff scenarios, who could advance, how they'd have to do it, and who the Sockers are most likely to play now in the first round. All of that coming up on this live edition of Soccer's Overtime. As always, we say a very special thank you to everyone who is watching and interacting with the show right now in our comment section live on Twitch. If you are listening to the podcast, if you're watching the replay, hey, you can still join us next week, too, as we head into the playoffs and hopefully for 3 more weeks after that. 5 o'clock on Tuesdays Pacific Daylight Time. That's when we are on live on Twitch. But also a big hi to everybody who is watching us on replay on our YouTube channel at San Diego Sockers, and to everybody who is listening to the Sockers Overtime podcast, wherever you're getting it, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeart, Spotify, Spreaker, Street, all of those things. All of them. Overcast, all of them. Thanks to all of you. Okay, Jerry. Let's get into it, man. Sockers heading east. 6 guys hurt and then a 7th. Signing Dallin Cutler up from Sockers 2 to fill out the 16-man roster. To head back to face the Baltimore Blast, who had traded for Vinny Dantas, had won 2 in a row, had just gone to Florida and blown out the Tropics by a 12-4 score. We roll in the highlights as you are watching with us live on Twitch. And I think a lot of folks, including maybe me, Jerry, thought if there was ever a time where the losing streak or the winning streak will come to an end, if there's a game that you might go, wow, this is going to be a tough one, it was going to Baltimore a second time with this shorthanded roster. And of course, just 2 minutes into the game, 2:08 into the game, Boris, with an own goal mistake, essentially, passes it off Ozzy Anang's leg into his own net, and they're down 1-0.
Yeah. Going like into this now, I feel like every single game we're just gonna call it a trap game, just because there's a chance for us to lose. And this one definitely felt like, okay, this is the one that maybe that winning streak is gonna be done for. And it was such a fun game to watch too. But this Baltimore team is great at home, as we already know. Um, and I just have to mention it because those kits are beautiful. I really really enjoyed those. I love that they have the main Baltimore logo on the chest like that. It was super nice to see. However, yeah, I mean, think this was the one game that I was thinking in my head. Hey, we have to beat Harrisburg first of all. So if it's going to be one of any of these two games, we may lose to Baltimore. But then what happened, Craig?
What happened was the Sockers, who, as we mentioned the last time they were on a road trip, Bunny, lead the MASL in road goals, lead the MASL in first quarter road goals. The Sockers had another 3-goal first quarter and took a little bit of control of the game. And it started with Tavoy Morgan, and then it got to the goal you just saw, Eddie's first of the night. Lovely setup from Leo, getting Eddie perfect positioning to be able to turn to his right hip and score one. Memo Rojo scores a pinball goal, which, a lot of everything that happens in Baltimore is pinball goals. And all of a sudden it's a 3-1 lead. And that's been the Sockers road MO. As you get out there, you jump on a team, you put 3 goals in their net in the first quarter, you kind of set a tone that you can then work off of, whether you're going to hit the accelerator and continue to push or you're going to back off and play possession.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think one of the topics obviously that we've been talking about quite a bit here on Soccer's Overtime is the fact that I mean, it's a small shield, but I wasn't too familiar with that stat with Baltimore being a great first quarter team. And I mean, they still did get a couple past us, but coming up 3-1, there's definitely that confidence buildup, right, for the Sockers. I think it was definitely a good thing that we were able to get a few on the sheet and get him past Vanzella, who again, I love that man. But it's just very good for the Sockers coming into a stadium where the Blast have been known to kind of control the game, especially in the first half of every single game. So yeah, that was great to see.
It was, and Sockers led 3-2 after the first quarter. If you're watching the replay, you just saw the Kalu goal. Kalu scores a hat trick for Baltimore, and San Diego did struggle for the weekend on set pieces. That's something to tighten up for the big week to come. It's always
Yeah.
going to be a game at Sekou Arena. I mean, it's always going to be a tough game. Baltimore understands that field better than anyone else, and just like they did 2 weeks ago, Blast battled back, not to take a lead like they did against San Diego 2 weeks ago, but they battled back to a 3-3 tie. And yet, and it was Jonatas Mello getting the lead, or pardon me, getting that tie on kind of an unfortunate bounce. Again, a typical pinball bounce at that baby arena. But then Tavoy Morgan gets his 34th of the year, second of the game to wrap up the first half. Just a minute 9 left in that first half. Jerry Pee Wee doing a great job to dig a ball out of a double team, as he is so often want to do, and to find Morgan unmarked in the middle of the crease. And Tavoy, 34 goals, doesn't score in Harrisburg against his former team. I thought he would either get 0 or 6 goals in that Harrisburg match. And unfortunately, he went for the lesser side, but still 34 goals now, the second most in the MASL.
No, love that. And what a beautiful play there by Pui Ortega, who, like you said, I mean, 2 man on him, he's able to get out of it. He sees Tavoy, he manages to get the tip of his toes enough to get the ball over to Tavoy. Tavoy does what he does and puts it in the back of the net. Just beautiful.
Absolutely. So Sockers see Kalu come out and get the first goal of the third quarter, and then it's back to the Eddie Velez show, as off of a turnover at midfield, in a 4-4 tie, Eddie gets space to turn to the right foot, put his laces through the shot, and absolutely blister one past Vanzella. It just smoked that ball to make it 5-4. And I know it's coming up shortly on the video, but I just absolutely loved his reaction of just like, oh, it was almost like that meme where everyone's like, oh, going by to just see the power of that shot.
Yeah. No, there was some beautiful goals, and I mean, I'm excited to talk to him about them too, and how he felt about those. But, you know, one of the things too that I keep seeing, and obviously we were down a few men. Yeah, there it is. There's that shot. We're watching it right now. Even he's like, "Oh," like his response was just kind of like, "Oh man, did I do that?" Kind of a, a response there. But it was so good to see. Again, this team continues to do things, even though we are down a few men. The people that come in are able to fill in those spots so great. And there is definitely some moments there with the game where I don't know. It could have gone either way. The Blast was really doing really well, but then that goal, man, that blistering goal, as you said, from Eddie, just man, it just brought that hope back, and it's like, okay, we're 5-4. Here we are again in the third. Let's keep this going. Let's keep this going. Let's try to stop Baltimore while we keep scoring. And these guys were just not would not let up.
No, I mean, and typical of the Blast, and the Blast are starting to feel it now, right? They got Dantas back. I think they started to think, hey, we're right back in the conversation. We beat Florida. Now we're going to beat San Diego. We're going to beat the top two teams in the league in back-to-back games, and everyone's going to know. And Baltimore is going to play you hard no matter where they are, but especially at home. And Jerry, we're just seeing on the replay right now what I thought was one of the worst missed calls that I've seen all year
That was bad.
in the league, because Brandon Escoto gets absolutely taken out by Mike Diesel. And when I watched the replay back, I think it's important to note Diesel had also taken out Escoto, not the same kind of play, but also taken him out in the first quarter. So it's not like that this was just a random hookup of two players, but so clear when you see it on slow-mo that Escoto has already gotten the ball away, and Diesel takes one more step to dive into Escoto's legs, his hip and his legs. And we are so lucky as San Diego Soccer's fans, as San Diego Soccer's members of the team, that there was no injury on
Yeah.
Brandon Escoto, and that Brandon was able to continue to play, and that Brandon's not out for the year or going to get his knee operated on this week. And quite frankly, I think that at the very, very least, that needed to be a blue plus yellow, a 2+5, but a straight red would have been a completely reasonable, I think, adjudication of that foul. And they didn't give a foul.
No.
They didn't even whistle a foul on that play. Never mind, no blue plus yellow, no straight red. They didn't give a foul on what was a dirty, dirty play. That's not a clean play. These are professional soccer players. You can't give them the excuse of, oh, well, they're kids. They're playing hard for the ball. What do you want? No, these are soccer. A soccer player knows when the ball's away and you take another step and you dive into the legs what you're trying to accomplish in that circumstance. So that was horrible. And I just absolutely love, Jerry, that play happens. Baltimore ties the game going into the fourth. And here come the Sockers. It's Eddie Velez, from Juan Manuel Rojo. It's Charlie Gonzalez, the game-winning goal, which we're watching right now after Escoto forces a turnover and he rips into Golasso. And later it'll be Brandon Escoto against six attackers. And I mean, you're talking about the clutch performers on this team. Brandon is amazing in the fourth quarter. Charlie Gonzalez leads the league in game-winning goals. And Eddie Velez is known for clutch scoring. I mean, that's just part of his history as a soccer's player through the years. And even in a limited role, he still shows that. So I just thought it was so cool to see the character of the club after that type of play where they could have lost their minds. They could have gotten three guys with yellow cards and everyone's screaming at the ref. And instead, hey, Sockers pull out the W. What you want the most.
Yeah, I would like to make a petition. If Phil is listening right now, from MASL review from the show, I would love for them to look at that play because I mean that was ridiculous. No call whatsoever. Something should have been done there. I mean, clearly you look at that playback and it was not good. But yeah, again, they managed to get a goal on us right after that. But here come the Sockers once again, as you mentioned it, right? That goal from Charlie, man, just what a beautiful goal. And then we have again Escoto, and then we have Eddie bringing us to that eighth goal. It was just again they did not give up regardless of injuries or anything like that. We were so lucky. So lucky. And I don't want to say that, the teams are going after us now and like trying to hurt us, but it feels that way. Like it just I'm not trying to, you know, say that they are, but it felt off. Like what's going on? What is up with all these injuries? And yeah, some of them are not off of, fouls or whatever, but that one specifically, man, I was worried. And I'm not known to be the kind of soccer fan that's going to scream at a TV upset, but there was some colorful words that were coming out of my mouth after that. I'm just going to put it that way.
Well, I do think that as the soccer's win streak continues and as they continue to put together these great, usually third quarters and take games that are kind of close and put them out of hand, that we have seen a lot of teams get more physical. And I mean,
Yeah.
you can just go back game after game through my game log about third quarters and people getting picked up off the floor. And there's another one the next day in Harrisburg where it's Leo that winds up getting laid out and put on the floor. And if it's not Leo, it's Brandon. And if it's not Brandon, it's Charlie, and if it's on down the line that there's an idea of if you can't beat them, foul them. And no one can beat the Sockers right now. So everyone is fouling the Sockers and seeing if that can be the difference. And listen, it can be, okay? San Diego was missing 7 guys going into that match. But the point is the 22nd, 23rd guys on our roster have the ability to beat you. And that's the difference between the Sockers and other teams. That's the difference is you can beat us up, you can knock us down, but that doesn't equal necessarily beating the San Diego Sockers. This team has heart, on guts, on wheels, on talent. They've got it all.
I think I saw somebody say somewhere in a chat somewhere something about we're 2 rosters deep. Like that's pretty much it, and we're able to have. I mean, we have the luxury of having people like Eddie Velez that can come in clutch and fill in a role in a spot when asked of him. And he's not the only one, which is I think such a magical thing about this organization just in general is that there is a ridiculous amount of talent and nobody looks forward to playing against the Sockers regardless of who's out. They don't even look at that. I don't think it's like, no, we're playing the Sockers. We're not playing this individual player that's out, this individual player that's out. No, we're playing the Sockers. So they bring it every single game and we saw that this weekend. So there you go.
100%. And that's right. I think a lot of players love to play the Sockers, but not because they think they're going to win. They love to play the Sockers because they love that they have to face the absolute best. Well, the Sockers got a chance then on Sunday to face the absolute worst. I mean, sorry, Harrisburg, but 3-18 coming into the game. And San Diego with a little bit better situation than the Utica trip, right? A 2-hour drive to Harrisburg instead of 6 hours. So Sockers were able to get into their beds in Harrisburg, midnight, 1 a.m., a 5 o'clock local time instead of 2 o'clock local time start. No hour lost to daylight savings like they had when they were going from Baltimore to Utica. So, a few different things, better off for San Diego, but also second game of a weekend East Coast back-to-back. And with 2 games and 2 very big games coming up this week, I think you really saw a tactical decision by San Diego in this game, Jerry, not to go all out, to really focus on possession, to focus on slowing down the game, chewing clock, getting a lead, massaging a lead. We haven't seen the Sockers play a 4-1 game since the home opener back on December 19th of last year. That's the last time they played 4-1. But, the number I really prefer to focus on is the 1. Harrisburg is not obviously a talented attacking team, but you held them to 1 goal on their home floor. Most of the games they've played at home, they've averaged 5, 6, 7 goals.
Wow. See, I didn't know that. That is awesome. Yeah, no, that's a big compliment, to the defense, like, once again, of the Sockers. And, again, playing away from home and in somebody else's stadium is never easy. And the Sockers have managed to muster, all wins. Let's talk about how much the Sockers are road warriors. And in this, arena against Harrisburg, regardless of whether they're the worst or not, they're still a great team. Depending on who you ask, but it's one of those situations where you're still going to come into somebody's house. They're going to defend. They're going to defend their territory. And I mean, 4-1, you could tell, like you said, they were going to hold off a bit. They weren't going to come in and just completely try to destroy Harrisburg. They're going to take it easy, especially after having played a game. I mean, it wasn't that much better than. Well, no, it was. It was much better than the last road trip that we took. I take that back. Uh, but still, I mean, there's still something to having to play back-to-back games in this sport. It's not an easy thing to do. These guys, yes, they're professional athletes, but it's still, there's wear and tear to the body that the body doesn't recover 24 hours later from, hits. So this is just one of those situations. And honestly, I was at some points even feeling frustrated because it did feel like we should have had a lot more than 4 on Harrisburg, especially going into the half. But that's just
Yeah.
me. I don't know.
No, no, I think that the Sockers missed a few really golden chances. We know Tavoy missed a half open net, right? At one
Oh, that
point.
one. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that was another point this weekend where I screamed at the TV, and I don't usually do that. That was one of those moments.
Yeah, you just assumed it was in, and then you're like, "What? Huh?" So that was shocking. It's only 3-1 at the half, and then when they played a scoreless third quarter, I thought, "Okay, now I see. Like, never mind. We're gonna do it this way." And listen, that's one of the reasons why Phil Salvaggio has won 195 games now between the PASL and the MASL as soccer's head coach. He doesn't care about going for the statistics. He cares
Yeah.
about getting every win that's possible. And other teams will go all out in a game like this to win 12-1 or something like that, to get as many goals and points for their stars as possible. And instead, the idea is no, let's save everybody's leg
Ooh.
and let's be ready for that Thursday match, against Florida, the match that could determine who wins the MASL Shield this year.
Yeah, no, sorry, and then you heard me go, "Oof," 'cause we just saw on the screen for those of you that are not watching or, that are only listening, Charlie Gonzalez with a beautiful shot, and, man, what can you say about Willie B, though? I mean, that man is also a fantastic goalkeeper, and he was managed to get a hand on it and bust it out, and also that header right before that, there was a couple of shots before, but that header that almost went in, was that Eddie? Correct?
Well, we'll have to double check and ask
We'll have
him.
to
But
double
yeah, I
check,
think it
yeah.
was.
Oh, and here we go again with the fouls, right? And that was
Yeah.
another thing too. In the third quarter, there was a couple of fouls there from Harrisburg that, oh man, that game after watching, the previous game against the Blast, it was like, oh man, really? Is this like what we're gonna be getting now from the teams? It's a bummer, but and I know they don't mean to. I know that they're just defending, and that's just part of the game. But man, again, a couple of shots from Charlie Gonzalez there in the third and the fourth, and man, so many opportunities missed, for this game, but again, I think I agree with you. I think this was part of the plan. It was just we're gonna take it a bit easier than normal, but hey, at the end of the day, we got it done.
Yeah. I mean, look, some misfiring. Leo was trying so hard. I think he hit the post 3 times.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
and he was also trying to find an assist. Brandon was firing like a crazy man. I think I sent you the gif when Harrisburg went 6 attacker of Forrest Gump running out of his front
yeah,
door. Like that's Brandon running on the field trying to get another goal against 6 attackers. So Sockers were trying to add a couple in there, I think, toward the end of the game, but these are really hard road trips.
yeah,
And it's wild how easy the Sockers make it look to go 12-0 on the road. No one else can do that. Most of these teams are going into a game like this falling behind Harrisburg 4-1 and trying to have to figure out a way whether they can come back and win the game or not. I mean, that's been Florida's entire second half of the schedule. As they go out on the road, they fall behind a team. They kind of duff it around. They scratch and claw and figure out their way to get back into it. And Zach Reggett scores one in the fourth quarter and they win the game. The Sockers just don't generally play that style. They've had to play all these small field games. They're the small field champion of the league, 4-0, between Baltimore and Chihuahua on the road. And then they have these back-to-backs set up of like, here's another team that you have to face immediately after these tough challenges. And the San Diego attitude, quite frankly, is cool. We'll just handle the game.
yeah,
We'll take the win. We'll handle the game, and we're not going to go stat hunting. We're not going to go scoreline hunting. And I'll be perfectly honest right here. We'll probably talk about it more in MASL news. Games like Sunday games like Sunday cost the Sockers things like MVP, Defender of the Year, first team all league, because the voters of the MASL have always been unsophisticated. They remain unsophisticated.
Oh,
Generally, people look at the points leaderboard and they pick the winner. They pick the guys that are on top of the list, and that's the best players, the quote unquote best players in the league. If the
yeah.
Soccer's goal was to have 4 first team all league players, the MVP, the defensive player of the year, etc., they would be stat hunting in games like this. And it would be, oh, well, that's the game that Tavoy got 6 goals, and believe me, there are other teams, the other teams where that is exactly the case, where they get into a game like that and it's time for the star to eat, and just to get a bunch of points and a bunch of goals. The Sockers don't play it like that. And as a result, they don't have the 3 most dominant scorers in the league. And as a result, all the league voters go, oh, okay, Bennett, Pereira, Tayu, Pereiras, and they're done. So I don't care. I say that to drill home the point. That's not what this organization's about.
It
That's not
blows
what we're about.
it blows my mind though, because in a star-studded team, right? A club that cares about winning, and we're known for winning. This season specifically is a prime example of the fact that regardless of how many stars may be on your squad, what matters to them at the end of the day is winning. They don't care about, yeah, the accolades are great, but they don't care about them as much as they care about actually winning a championship. To them, a banner is way more important. And yeah, it kind of sucks that you're right. People will look at the stats because that's the easiest thing to do. You don't have to watch every single game. You just go online, look at MSL stats and look at, okay, who are the best people? Let's just give it to them. But that doesn't at all make sense to me personally, and I know it doesn't make sense to you, but it's such a good point to make that this team is absolutely in it to win it, right? Like we absolutely are. It's a team too. Like I keep saying that, and I love it so much that I can say that. Like there's no egos here. There's nobody stat hunting.
Yep.
Everybody here wants to win first and foremost. They don't care about individual statistics. We're looking at somebody like Brandon Escoto and somebody like Charlie Gonzalez, who are fantastic individually, but as a team that have not maybe shown the numbers that are normal for them, but they've given so much, like especially this weekend, for both of them, right? And somebody like Eddie as well. Like it just I can name everybody on this squad. And yeah, I see it here in the chat. Somebody mentioned defender of the year could be the entire Soccer's backline. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
And that's the
Right.
craziest thing to me. But that right there is a winning team. And this is why we're gonna go all the way right here. Like I just love that mentality.
Well, Jerry, it's the bottom of the hour. It's time to welcome in our special guest. We've been talking a lot about him. I'm sure his ears have been burning over the course of the last half hour. He is one of our veteran leaders since 2011-12. He has been a part of this team. Even now, as his what's that old phrase? Twilight of your career, right? At age 40, battling back from injuries that held him out all year. This man kept fighting to get into the lineup in a situation where it kind of looked like, what are you fighting for? There's no spot for you, man. There's no reason for it. He kept going. He was determined. And you know what? Right when he became ready, the Sockers needed him. And without Eddie Velez, the Sockers don't win 2 games this weekend in Baltimore and Harrisburg. El Vaquero rides again, and he rides into Soccer's overtime. Again, a multi-time appearance here on our show. Eddie Velez is our guest. Eddie, Craig, and Jerry here with you. Thanks so much, buddy.
Sir, you're muted. Make sure you unmute yourself real quick. There it
There you
is.
go. Boom.
What's
How are you
What's
happening?
guys?
happening?
Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
I'm
Well,
so
the
excited to
pleasure is
actually
ours.
talk to you today, sir. Yeah, it's one of those things that we bring in people all the time, and I was like, when are we bringing in Eddie? When are we bringing in Eddie? And it was like, look, here we are. Like, what a perfect time to actually talk to this man and actually get to, see how your weekend went. But I'll let Craig take it first because I wasn't prepared for this very much, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast. So go ahead, Craig.
It's quite all right. Well, Eddie, I mean, we definitely laid out a lot of it over the course of the last half hour, but just your determination, man, to get back into the lineup. Maybe help share with folks what your physical battle has been just to be available to play this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like has been a challenge this year a little bit. I got injured right before the season started. I had my clavicle, collarbone, however you want to call it, and three ribs broken on October 23rd. So it took a little while for me to recover and be ready and get cleared by the doctors and everything, obviously, because I'm not 20 years old anymore. And that's part of the process. So, I mean, you guys know. I mean, Craig, you know that I love to be on the field, and obviously, it's coming to a point when it's kind of like almost the end of my career. But I'm always trying to enjoy as much as possible the opportunities that are there to be taken, and obviously, I mean, try to help the young guys and try to help the team. That's the most important thing. I mean, I never been about uh, uh, any individual award or anything like that. So I mean, it's just I enjoy being around the group and being around the players, and that's my nature.
We got to
Go
see. Oh,
ahead,
go ahead.
Jerry. Sorry.
No, you go
No,
ahead.
no, no,
Nah, I'm
please.
talking over you. Go ahead. No, you go. No, you go.
Oh my God, you guys are gonna start fighting
No,
over
you
it right
go.
now over the
No,
microphone.
you go. You talk to him. That's fine, Craig.
All
Whatever.
right. No, well, I was just going to say, you look at that forward position and how stacked it's been all year, right? Tavoy MVP type season. Honestly, Craig MVP type season. The way he's been able to perform. Christian Gutierrez. We were writing sad songs last week, thinking that he was going to be gone for a while. We were singing songs, tell a tale of
Y
Christian.
volver, volver. We were like saying, yeah.
uh, yeah, I mean,
And so
obviously,
well, I was just going to say for you to be able to fit in and contribute. It didn't look like you would ever be able to contribute at that position. How exciting was it to be able to?
and I mean, Craig, to be honest, I'm not looking to take anyone's spot. The team, it's been amazing. I mean, we're stacked from top to bottom. I mean, there's no, I mean, there's no way for me to come in and the 40-year-old try to take a spot from anyone. I always been saying I'm always trying to put as much as possible on the training session and try to make everyone competitive and try to make everyone better at practice. If the opportunity comes, I'm more than welcome to take it and try to do my best for the team. I mean, dude, Tavoy is a freaking beast. He's a bull on the ball. I mean, you cannot even move him. Like it's crazy. I mean, Christian, it's just like I don't know, probably a younger version of me when I came here. Never stopped running, just battling and just like going up and down and yeah, coach, just yes, coach, yes, coach, yes, coach, and he's a yes, coach. I mean, he does what he has to do for the team, and that's why he's where he's at right now, right? I mean, in Craig, I mean, we all know Craig. I don't have to say much about Craig. I mean, he's Craig Child.
For me, watching you too, and hearing you say these things, we talk about them on the show, but it's very different when it comes from somebody that's actually a part of the team that's there, every single day, that actually is listening to these guys, watching them play, playing with them, and then going out on the road and doing things with the team. It's easy for us on this side, me and Craig, to say this is a team. This is a team that is playing together for each other, not individually. There's no egos here. For you to say it means so much more. And also for you to, you know, be open to the fact that, yeah, I may not always be there, but when I am needed to be there, I'm going to be there. So with that being said, man, you coming through when needed, absolutely. We had a hat trick on Saturday. First of all, now after having been able to digest that and say and tell yourself like I had a hat trick, uh, you know, f- uh, and how does that feel, man? Coming into this team that, obviously coming from injury and all of that. Now coming into your game on Saturday, hat trick. Just walk us through that. How the feelings of that.
I'll be honest with you. The first game that I played back on this season, it was versus Tacoma at home, and honestly, I felt like a rookie. I felt nervous. I was not sharp. I was I was just uh, insecure as a player, which is kind of like unusual on me, to be honest. I'm like very confident in myself, but that first game, it was just hit different. Why? Because everything that he have happened through the past year. I mean, if and like thinking about it, that was my first game in 1 year. I didn't play since last season in St. Louis was my last game, and then I got hurt, and then I was out for the rest of the season. Then came back, well, tried to come back, and then broke my collarbone and my ribs, so I was out for 3 4 months, and that took a year. So it was just like literally nothing, no playing. So when I came back on versus Tacoma, I was just like trying to get back into that game time mood. Uh, and it was nervous when I showed up to Baltimore. I'm not gonna say that I was like 100% sure that I was gonna do a good job, but I was very confident that I was. Those are the games that I like, honestly. And those are the games that I like to play, and those are the games that even though if like I score or I don't score, I'm gonna give my 100%, and I'm gonna like put the chest for the team, whatever, and regardless of the scenario. Those are the games that I mean, and especially like a game on like the game on Saturday, dude. The the arena was like packed. The vibe was amazing. The people were great. I mean, you don't need anything else to motivate you. I mean, and the game was good. So, I mean, it was. I'll be honest with you. I mean, you can see that the reaction. I was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, I hit that!
Yeah.
Whoa!"
Yeah.
I look at the bench and Phil went like, I mean, everyone's reaction was like almost the same. So my first thing it was like, "Oh, I
And
just hit that."
you started doing this.
Yep,
Oh,
yep.
you were doing it for yourself. We're like, dang, was that me?
Yeah, yeah, and it's just like I mean, I just enjoy being on the field, man, and playing those games is just amazing. It's just great to be back on the field and being able to help the team is it just like rewarding for me, like to have my son watch that and like kind of get sad and like emotional over the phone while he FaceTimes me. I mean, that's the most rewarding for me. I
That's
mean, all
awesome.
the fans, I see all the love they on social media. So, I mean, I'm always watching and I'm always around and I'm always trying to be like part of the team.
We're talking with Eddie Velez here live on Soccer's Overtime. And Eddie, it's funny. One of our teammates from last year, Nelson Santana, is now playing in Baltimore. And their
Hmm.
announcers were talking about how much fun Nelly is having because he's 43 and he doesn't have to run the full field. He's running that baby field. So it's not that, the shift isn't quite what it is at Pachanga Arena. I wondered, I mean, did you kind of feel the same thing? Like, dang, this kind of fits me right now like a hand in glove.
I I always said the small field fits me better. And you remember Sonora? Sonora was like a perfect fit for me. It's like going back to Ferrari and Tijuana. It's just like my type of game, my like the good old days. It feels great. I mean, it was great. I mean, the field is small, but like we have to be able to adjust, right? We are a good team, and the boys, dude, they're freaking amazing. Every single player on the roster is it's just amazing.
Now, we talked a lot before about some of the veterans on this team, and you're a veteran on this team. One of the things that I think that kind of stands out with this year's soccer is that it's not just the old guard here. You've had an infusion of youth, and whether it's a kid like Chiquis, Alan Garcia, just 22 years old, Xavier, just 22 years old, a raw rookie, Sean Callahan, a little bit older, but still up from Soccer's too, a rookie in the league. How important has it been to kind of have that mix? Tavoy, for being a successful player in the league, he's just 26 years old, and I feel like he has just brought so much life and energy, into the pregame warmups, into every day at training. How important has it been to have that youthful infusion onto the roster this year?
It was time. It was time to rejuvenate the team, and these guys just fit right in, and their attitude and their their drive to learn, and their attention to, like, to everyone, and being able to try to be successful. That's what it's like. I mean, the team is kind of successful. I mean, the other thing that I can tell you is, like, um this team is, like, really a team. So I mean, everyone backs each other up. We play for each other, and it doesn't matter if you have one game or 40 games or 50 games or 100 games under your belt. You're the same, and you play for the Soccers, and you're wearing the same crest, and we're gonna protect you.
For us here, obviously, we're now like everything that is being talked about within the league itself is MASL playoffs, the playoffs, and heading into the playoffs for you and for the rest of the team. Actually, I'm wondering what the mentality is from everybody. Maybe you personally, and then the team as a whole. What are you guys thinking? How are we feeling about it? And then kind of what is the just overall mentality of the squad right now?
Well, my personal opinion, it's playoffs are playoffs, and it doesn't matter who's first, who's second. It doesn't matter who's last.
Love that.
Playoffs are playoffs, and it's a totally different tournament. And we can see that in the past years, Baltimore always, like, hangs, like, right below everyone, like third, fourth place, and then boom, they end up winning the championship. It's why? Because it's a different tournament. So players are playoffs, and it doesn't really matter. Everyone is, like, kind of guessing, oh, we're gonna face, who we're gonna face, like, who's the best opponent that we can have. Any opponent that we're gonna have, we have to face them the best way, and we have to beat them, right? Our goal is to be champions, and we have to go over every single team that is in front of us. That's period.
Yeah.
It's a great answer, Eddie. I mean,
Love it.
honestly, that's the right answer, and that's
Yep.
that's the Soccer's answer. Is what it is. That's the Soccer's way. Now, before we let you go, man, Sunday. So Thursday, of course, is the Florida match, and we know
Yep. Hold on, you're kind of breaking up.
how important the Florida match is. It's a huge
There you go.
match. Sunday is the
Yeah.
last regular season match. So sorry about that. So Sunday, Soccers are giving out a Zay Roberto T-shirt, a special Zay Roberto T-shirt giveaway to all the fans for that Soccers Ontario match. We expect, although we've said it before, but we expect that this is the year that Zay's going to hang it up at the end. How important has Zay Roberto been to this club since you've been with him?
San Roberto has been a leader since I got to the Soccers. He's always a quiet captain. He's always has been a quiet captain. When it's time to show up, he performs. He talks to you. He doesn't talk to you very much, but you know that he's a captain. The way he acts, the way he behaves, the way he performs, the way he shows up to the preseason, the way, like, he cares himself around on and off the field. You know he's a leader, right? On and off the field. He's just a role model for everyone, every single one of us, including myself. Including myself. I mean, he's just an example, like, on and off the field. That's the only thing that I can say about Ser Roberto. If he's gonna hang it this year, I don't know. I don't think he should. I mean, he should be going. He's fitter than me. He's stronger than me. And dude, he's still playing. He's still playing. He's freaking ripped.
Yeah, I noticed that too the other day. I was like, man,
He's
this
like,
is like,
yeah,
oh,
bring it.
jeez. I was having I think
Yeah.
like lunch next to him, and I'm just looking at him like, dude, what is going on? Or I need to fix my diet. That's what I was thinking. No, you know
Yeah,
what?
I
You
mean,
literally
mhm.
just described. You described him as Yoda. Like that's exactly. I he doesn't say much, but when he says something, it
Yeah,
means a lot.
it
Like
means a lot. It
that's
means a lot. Yeah,
San Roberto is the
yep,
Yoda of the Sockers, is what I got from.
that is true.
Oh my goodness. Well, Eddie, listen, man, it is always a pleasure to talk with you, my friend. We've known each other for over a decade now, and what an incredible story to fight back so hard, as you said, broken collarbone, 3 broken ribs, no obvious spot in the lineup, no obvious path to any playing time, whether you were healthy or not, and to have everything shake out the way it did, where you were not just wanted but needed in the lineup, and you deliver and you help beat Baltimore on the road, buddy. I tell you what, it just doesn't get better than that. Thank you so much. I know you had a little bit of a tweak at training today. We hope that you are good to go this weekend, because as we said in the broadcast, man, there's 2 things Eddie loves to do. Eddie loves to score some goals and to commit some fouls. And we want to see both of those things out on the floor this week.
Let's see if we can celebrate and do a couple dances before the end of the season.
I
Oh,
love it. El Vaquero, pistols firing. Thank you, buddy.
all right. That was awesome.
There you go. So it was so much fun. Love my buddy Eddie Velez. Unbelievable.
No,
What a
but you
great
know what?
guy.
It's seriously like the fact that he came in, scored the goals that he scored. I mean, go back and watch those because they weren't just any goals. Like, golly, those are beautiful goals. And I mean, it's just it's a beautiful thing to see. And he's been in this organization doing that sort of thing for so many years. I would just loved especially as somebody that's newer to the organization, somebody that's newer to the sport in general, just watching somebody like Eddie Velez on the field put balls in the back of the net like that just gives me chills, and I absolutely love it. And if you're not at the games, like I don't know what you're doing. Like seriously, if you're just listening to us, come out to a game. I just want to throw that out there because you have to
Come
come and
on.
actually see these legends play because that's exactly what Eddie is and Zay is. And what did you mention? I had no idea, sir. Zay, we're getting a T-shirt. What was that about?
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, more in soccer's news, but yeah, Zé
Oh, okay.
Roberto
Sorry,
commemorative
I'm
T-shirt
getting ahead of
coming
myself.
up. Yeah, coming up on Sunday. All right, Eddie is out of here. We appreciate him. It is time now to get into our news segments. We start things off with MASL news. So we teased it. We talked about it. The league dropped the announcement. I appreciate this, Jerry. Instead of waiting until Wednesday, they dropped it Tuesday at 4:30. I feel like they
Beautiful.
were thinking of us.
We appreciate it. Thank you, League, for doing that for us. Or
So,
or
and
or dropping it at 7 p.m. on Tuesday too. It's like, oh, really?
yeah, exactly. And look, listen, would I have been mad at them if they had made this announcement at the beginning of the season? No, I think they maybe should have. But nonetheless, better late than never. Turns out, funny story.
You
Turns
know
out,
what happened
uh,
was
yeah, if you win the regular season, you actually get silverware in the MASL. We
let's
didn't
go.
know this. This has never been the case before, but now it is the case that the San Diego Sockers and Florida Tropics are the only 2 teams left fighting for the MASL Shield, an actual shield that's been created and commissioned by the league and by Commissioner Keith Tozer, and will be presented in the first round of the playoffs to whichever team is the shield winner. Now, the Sockers are they have all but grabbed the Supporters Shield after, or
It's not
I just called it Supporters Shield.
because
We're
you're
gonna
just the
get there.
MLS.
I know
MLS has the supporter shield. We don't.
we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. The MASL Shield. They have all but grabbed the MASL Shield
This is
because with Saturday and Sunday's wins, the Sockers got to 60 points. Florida lost in overtime to Utica on Sunday after having beaten Harrisburg, barely, by the way, beating Harrisburg on Friday. Before that, they had lost to Baltimore the week before. So Florida is now at 53 points. Florida has 3 matches left. The Sockers have 2 matches left. So for Florida to pass San Diego, Florida has to win in regulation against Ontario on Wednesday, beat the Sockers in regulation on Thursday, and then go home and beat Baltimore on Sunday. They have to win all 3 of those games. The Sockers would, of course, have lost to Florida in this scenario, and then the Sockers would have to also lose to Ontario on Sunday night. So in match play terms in golf, the Sockers are dormy. The opponent has to win out and they have to lose out in order for the lead to be exchanged. So if Florida loses to Ontario tomorrow, it's over. And the Shield is decided before the Sockers in Florida play. But San Diego needs 2 points the rest of the year. Either the Sockers need to get 2 points or Florida needs to drop 2 of the 9 points that they have available. And that's all it takes. And the Sockers will be number 1, and they will receive the first ever awarding of the MASL Shield.
That's so exciting. And also it's like, oh, but do we have the now that they put like they flash silverware in front of you, you're like, oh, now we have to win that. But then what if we have to face off against Chihuahua, or like what if this or that? And that's when you're so it's just kind of an incentive, right, to want to be the best. And I think that that's a great idea. I honestly love it, because that's just additional silverware that we can add to our very, very big collection, you know?
Yes.
And I enjoy it. And I think that there is a way to, if they continue this on, which I'm assuming that they're going to. I mean, first of all, we may be the first ever MASL Shield winners in history, right? This has never been done before. This is the first
Right.
time that okay. So we may be the first ones ever. So that's pretty awesome to be able to add to our resume. But then in the future, I think it gives people that want to be number 1 in the league. You know, and I
Yes.
love that. I absolutely love it. I think it's such a great idea. And if it's done right, in the sense of you know, the rollout and everything. I mean, this just came out of nowhere to me. I had no idea that this was going to be a thing. Here we are, literally weeks away from playoffs, and oh, there's a trophy you can win. I mean, this would have been great to know at the beginning of the season, but now everybody knows. So we go from there. We work with what we have, and I'm excited for it because, as you said, I mean, so what are you saying though? Are we rooting for Ontario tomorrow? Is that what's happening?
That's forbidden.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm just making sure. I'm just double checking.
That is forbidden. Yeah, that's not allowed. I tried that. What was that? A couple weeks ago, I tried that when Florida went to Ontario. It
Against
didn't.
Florida, and then they couldn't.
Yeah, didn't work out. They still lost, and I felt dirty. I had to shower twice. So, yeah, no, you can't do that.
This is one of the things, real quick. So John San Diego said, as a Mexican, we know what happens with the Super Líder in the first round, but we got this. Every Super Líder in Liga MX, for whatever reason, loses in the first round. So that's what he's talking about. We don't throw that out into the universe, all right, John? Stop.
No.
Golly, hey, but we won a shield,
right? And I know MLS Supporters Shield doesn't have a 1-to-1 correlation with winning MLS Cup either. I certainly know that from LAFC's history.
Hey, they're not the Sockers though.
That's
like it.
Alicia, who is really? Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Who is other than the Sockers themselves? No one is.
No one.
One last thing about this. I already talked to the boss about this a little bit. He said, "Hey, I'm open. Let's talk about it." If and when the Sockers do win that shield, and there is a presentation on April 10th of that shield to the club and to Phil, I don't want it just to be to Phil, because I think that in MLS, one of the single greatest things is the Supporters Shield. I think it's, if you want to understand supporters culture, understand that for all the people that the regular season would matter. It matters to the supporters more than anyone, because the supporters are the people who put so much of themselves into the regular season, who pour their heart and soul into every game, whether it's home or road. And the fact, now listen, it's a different world. The MLS has a supporters union. Okay, the MLS, every single club has a supporter, and they have a governmental structure, so to speak, a hierarchical structure. So it's different, but it doesn't have to be different forever. I think it's something that we should aspire to as a league. And seeing as we are the trendsetters, Jerry, of the MASL, I want in that ceremony, if the Sockers win that shield, I want our supporters to be a part of that
Yes.
ceremony.
I love that.
And so they shall be, because I have
Yes.
that kind of clout in this organization.
Let's go.
So we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. And so I want to see Adrian. I want to see Cowboys. Like maybe those are the two. I don't know, but like I want supporter involvement in this. I want supporters to feel like this is part of their of what they have helped accomplish for the fans of San Diego and for the San Diego Sockers.
I love that so much. And you're right. I mean, the long season, especially fighting through it and being there supporting 100% of the time, the way that our supporters do, I think it's important to include the supporters in something like this. I mean, even if it's the shield being handed off to a couple of our supporters and then the supporters hand off the shield to the team, I think how great would that be? It's just such a representation of what this team is and what we're about, which is being a family and really recognizing the people that are in and out 100% there and just giving it their all, helping out, hey, hitting cowbells and blowing vuvuzelas in the opposing team's ears so they can't talk to each other like during the game. That's the kind of supporter that is there every single day. And if you recognize them with something like this, I mean, that's going to add so much more meaning to the MASL Shield. Like that's adding meaning to what the shield is and what it's about. I love it, Craig. That's a fantastic idea, man. I'm 150% on board with you.
Love it. Let's make it happen. We're going to make it happen. First things first, Sockers need 2 more points. 2 more points. That's 1 more win, even in overtime. And that will get you the shield, the first ever MASL shield. Let's go to the playoff tracker and let you know exactly where everything is settling in, and we can give you some informed predictions here. 6 spots, Jerry, are now locked in stone. So San Diego and Florida will finish 1 or 2. And as we just discussed, how close San Diego is to locking in 1, at which point Florida would be locked in 2. Kansas City is locked in 3. They've won the Central Division and they'll have the fewest amount of points. Chihuahua, it now actually has one more point than Kansas City, 42-41. But Chihuahua is locked in the 4th spot. They will be the top wildcard team. Baltimore is locked in the 5 spot. They're going to face Chihuahua in the first round. That is settled. Also settled, Dallas. It's not completely settled. I have to take that back. Ontario could go win-win in regulation and still pass them. But in all likelihood, Dallas is the 6th team, the 6th seed that would face Kansas City in the first round. They have 33 points. They have 1 game remaining. Then you get to the battle for 8th. And there are 4 teams fighting for 2 spots. Currently, the playoff line is 28 points. Ontario has 28 points. So does Milwaukee. Ontario holds the 7th spot over Milwaukee because of the goal differential tiebreaker. Milwaukee has 1 game left at home against Dallas. Ontario plays, as we discussed, Florida on Wednesday. And I have to look up who on. Oh, and then they play us, of course. Then they play us to wrap up the season. St. Louis is at 25 points. They have 2 games remaining. They have a home game against Kansas City and they have a road game against Kansas City. And both of those, of course, will take place this weekend. They need to win both of those games. And if they do, no matter what the other teams do, they would make the playoffs at 31 points. However, they have to beat Kansas City twice, including in Kansas City, and they can't settle for overtime either. So that's a very, very tough road. But the toughest road of all is Utica. And I actually, Jerry, double checked with John Raymond at the league about this because I was looking at this table and I could not figure out how Utica could make the playoffs. Because I was like, hang on, even if they win twice in regulation, they'll be at 28 points. They'll be in like a 3-way, 4-way tie or something. How would they possibly do it? Well, the playoff tracker explains it. It says Utica needs to win twice in regulation. They need an Ontario to lose twice and get no points. And they need Milwaukee and St. Louis each to lose at least once. Milwaukee only has one game left. St. Louis could win one more time. At that point, Utica would advance on total wins because they would have 10 total wins, and that would be one more than Ontario, who
Jeez.
would have 9 total wins, which is the second tiebreaker. The first tiebreaker is regulation wins. The second tiebreaker is total wins. The third tiebreaker is head-to-head. The fourth is goal differential. So that's how Utica could do it. But they have a shoot the moon scenario, right? So if Ontario gets a point, if Milwaukee gets a point, if St. Louis gets 4 points, they're done. If they drop a single point, they're done. But if all those things happened, Utica could still sneak in and be the 8 seed in that scenario.
That's crazy. So it's like you have to win every single game that's left in regulation and hope that every other game that needs to go your way goes your way, which is Ontario losing both games. Absolutely possible, by the way.
Yes.
And
Highly
then
possible.
one loss by St. Louis and one loss from Milwaukee. That's oof.
I
That's
mean, look,
tough.
Milwaukee can just win in Dallas and settle things, or at home against Dallas and settle things, right? The Wave
Mhm.
have won a couple in a row. They're pushing for the playoffs. Leite's back. They it looks like they're a little bit more locked in than they were before. And I'm expecting exactly that. I'm expecting Bennett to score a hat trick, Milwaukee to win over Dallas. Dallas doesn't really have much to play for there, and in fact, they'd know by that point that they're locked into 6th because if Ontario loses Wednesday to Florida, then Ontario can't catch Dallas. So they might not even travel their full team. You don't know. So I would expect Milwaukee to win that game. And if Milwaukee wins that game, then you can knock all these other nonsense scenarios like
Yeah.
out the
Yeah.
window. To be honest, I don't think St. Louis is going to win back-to-back games against Kansas City this weekend. That seems like a really tall order. I think they might be able to beat them in St. Louis and swing the pressure to that game in Kansas City and keep the excitement rolling. I could see that happen. I could see it roll into the final day, but I just have a hard time believing St. Louis is going to beat them twice. So what I see happening is I see Milwaukee moving up to that 7 spot with 31 points.
Mm-hmm.
I see Ontario in the 8 spot with 28 points. I think St. Louis might get to 28 points, but probably no more than that, at which point Ontario beats them on goal differential, unless we beat Ontario like 30-1 on
Totally
Sunday.
possible. Totally possible.
Certainly, absolutely could happen. But
You'll have to be
short
there,
of
April
that,
10th.
yeah.
See that.
Short of that, I think Utica will be eliminated. I think St. Louis will be eliminated. I think Milwaukee will flip flop with Ontario, move up to 7th, and I think the Sockers are going to play the Fury. I think it's going to be a Ron Newman Cup Finals rematch
Oh dear.
in the first round.
Yeah, let's do it. So here's my thing, and this is my mentality, okay? And maybe not everybody agrees with this because I see some of the comments, I'm seeing those come in where it's like, oh, well, but if we get first, then we have to play against a team that could possibly beat us because of this or that, whether it's Ontario because they, have it out for us, or Chihuahua or whatever it may be. In this situation right now that we're in, first of all, I think we should be number 1 because we have been number 1 and we deserve that shield. 100%. Second of all, get rid of that mentality that I just said, and let's look at it this way. Let's look instead at the fact that a champion, a true champion, which we've been criticized about last season, right? A true champion beats every team, regardless of who they are, where they are. It doesn't matter. We are the champions, right? That's the way that you become a champion. So why not actually prove it and not be scared of who you're going to face? Whoever. Just like Eddie said earlier on the show, Craig. He said,
Correct.
it doesn't matter. The playoffs are the playoffs. Give us whoever you want to give us. We're going to destroy them. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. We have
Yep.
to beat, regardless of who it is, we have to beat them. So bring it on. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Florida in the playoffs. I don't care if it's Kansas City, Chihuahua, Baltimore, Dallas, Ontario, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Utica. I don't care. Bring them all. Like, that's the mentality that you have to have as a champion, and I think this team has it, and I'm feeling good about it. So let's get that shield
Yeah,
first, and then let's go
get the
from there.
shield. Now, one last thing, just to remind you, for those who are thinking tactically like that, right? I know at some point on the podcast I've brought that up before, how the second seed would probably avoid Chihuahua in the second round, but the Sockers have the opportunity to play for the championship at home by winning the shield, and that's all you really need to think about. You plus beyond that, remember the league reseeds the playoffs in the second round. So if you're the number one seed, yes, you're most likely to face the 4-5 winner. But if Dallas upset Kansas City, or if Milwaukee upset Ontario, then you wouldn't face Chihuahua or Baltimore. You'd face the team that sprung the upset. And that small field champion, the Baltimore Chihuahua winner, would go face Florida instead. So there's advantage across the board.
Yeah,
And yeah, I don't want to face Chihuahua. No one wants to face Chihuahua, but guess what? No one wants to face the San Diego Sockers.
even more so.
Right? So like, why are we thinking in that kind of, second place mentality? Like, we're the big dogs, so let everyone else be scared of facing us.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Okay, with that said, we look to the week ahead. We look to how things can possibly shake out, and I think we've done a pretty good job of laying it out. Wednesday, the Tropics could be eliminated from second place, or the Fury could be eliminated from advancing. Thursday, we're the only game in town. Tropics Sockers. There's no match on Friday. Saturday, Stars at Utica. Chihuahua at Heat. Chihuahua has nothing to play for this weekend. I'll be very curious what kind of team they travel to Pennsylvania and New York this weekend. Dallas at Milwaukee. That is a Saturday game, also at 4 o'clock. Comets at Ambush. That will kick at 5 o'clock on Saturday. Then Sunday, 12 o'clock, Chihuahua against City. Blast Tropics will also be at 12 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, it's Ambush Comets. Stars Heat, doesn't matter. And then we wrap things up, Fury Sockers. So, I'll just say one last note on this, Jerry. I know the league isn't at this level yet, but it would be great for the final day for every game to kick off at the same time.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Yeah, that would have been fantastic, right? It's like, what do they call it in MLS? Decision day.
Decision day, right?
Yeah, that would have been great. I love that idea. Yeah, I know we're not quite there yet, but man, like, why not build up that anticipation and that excitement at the end? I think
Yep.
especially for those teams that are at the bottom, where anything can still happen, right? Where they still feel they have a chance. Yeah, that would be exciting, especially like for us too. Clinching the cup. I mean the shield, like all of that stuff. I mean, I feel like could have been better planned out, but yeah. Um, Here we are now. So, the main thing is going to be for San Diego to show up Thursday, this Thursday, the 31st. I think that's the beginning of everything now going into the playoffs. It starts with this game against Florida.
Absolutely. Let's wrap up with Soccer's notes. And I want to start with Soccer's 2. SD Soccer's 2 are in the playoffs, and they have a home playoff match. And it is this Sunday afternoon at 12:30 before the Sockers Fury match at 5 o'clock. The Sockers have decided, and I love it, that no charge for this match. It had been $10 tickets. We haven't been selling a ton of tickets for this. So we're opening the doors. It's already free parking to come to a Sockers 2 match. So come on out Sunday. Come support SD Sockers 2. Poyo will be on the field. Big Rojo will be on the field. Xavier could very well be on the field for that match. It's win or go home. It's not 2 legs or anything. It's a single elimination game to get to the MASL 2 Final Four, which will be held the next weekend in Muskegon, which I still don't remember where that is. Wisconsin? Somewhere. Nonetheless, that's the deal. So yeah, that's the situation, and we really hope that everyone will come out and support Sockers 2. Let's get a louder crowd. Let's get a bigger crowd. No, the doors are open. Free attendance, free parking.
Free.
So come on out, support SD Sockers 2 this Sunday at 12:30. Come see Poyo, come see Big Rojo, come see if the Sockers 2 can make it to the Final Four. Season tickets are on sale now for 2022-2023. And if you're somebody who's a fan who's been following along, but you don't have San Diego Sockers season tickets, here are 2 very important reasons why you'd want to do that now, as opposed to waiting until the summer or the fall to do so. The first reason is because you will get priority to purchase playoff tickets for the upcoming Ron Newman Cup playoffs. So if you want the exact seat that you want, the best way to do that is to pick that seat for next season and then carry it for this season's playoffs. But also consider that next year, 2022-2023, is scheduled to be the Sockers' last year at Pechanga Arena, San Diego, before they go to a very soon to be named arena in Oceanside. And that's going to be where it's going to be hard, right? That's going to be where you're going to really want to have the seat that you want, that you're going to want to have the priority sightline. And guess what? Getting a season ticket for next year puts you first in line to get into the new arena in Oceanside. So it helps you today for priority seating for the playoffs. It helps you next year for the best prices for 2022-2023 and all the season ticket membership discounts and benefits that average ticket goers do not get. And it helps you for the future as well, 2023-2024 priority to get into the new arena. So sign up. Sockers season tickets on sale now. We told you here on Sockers Overtime like a month ago what our first playoff date would be, but the league wouldn't let us say it officially until today.
Officially.
So officially, we'll tell you what, if you've been listening to this show, you already knew, which is that April 10th is our first home playoff date. That will be the concluding leg of the quarterfinals as the Sockers take on the 8th seed. They will go on the road to play the first game, wherever that might be, whether it's Milwaukee, Ontario, St. Louis, or Utica. But either one, any of those 4 scenarios, it all wraps up with the second leg being Sunday, April 10th, match 2 of the quarterfinals. And if it is tied 1-1, if the series is tied 1-1 after match 2, then we will go into what the league has now decided to rebrand as extra time. The 15-minute, don't call it a mini game, the 15-minute extra time, which will determine the champion of the series.
I have to put you on camera. For those of you that are not watching, Craig has to do it one more time. Do the extra time. Do it again.
Extra time.
I love it. Yes, let's go.
I had to push back. I was like, guys, extra time sounds like a podcast.
Oh, that's a podcast for MLS.
Right? MLS. Welcome to MLS Extra Time. I'm Jerry and I'm Craig.
You're me too? Okay.
I was like, hey, guys, can we think of some marketing here? Can we do some? I was like, how about death match? You know, like, you play, it's 1-1, death match. Or, okay, maybe not death match, but elimination game. Call it the elimination game. Call it the knockout game. You know, like, okay, it's knockout game. Okay, you play, if it's 1-1, we go to the knockout game. That's fine. That's what I'll call it, the knockout game. I like that.
I like
Extra
that.
time?
Yeah.
Extra time to me sounds like we're adding 15 minutes to the game. So, like, hey, you're losing 9-6, but you've got 15 more minutes to try and get 3 goals.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. All right. Hey, but I'll give you another advantage too. Actually, even just coming to the game on the 31st, if I'm not mistaken, you get to see this beauty right here. The ball, dude. Can I just say that I love this thing now? Like seeing it out on the field, actually being rolled around, so much better. I like it a lot. Just want to throw that in there. New ball's awesome.
Oh, I love that. I think the new great. And Tavoy, of course, looks great as well. Marlisha asked a great question. The extra time is still not golden goal, correct? It's still a solid. Yes, Marlisha, this is 100% a rebrand. They haven't changed the at all. It's still a best of 3. They just don't want to call the third game a game anymore because they didn't like the name of it. So we're calling it knockout game.
We can. Oh, they won't like that, huh? If we change the name because we don't like extra time, so we're gonna call it something else. 15 minutes to death.
Brought to you by Soccer's Overtime Death Match.
Yeah, I like that better. That's just me.
We'll do what we do. We are trendsetters. We are influencers here in San Diego.
So how we do it.
All right, let's wrap up just looking ahead to our 2 games, and once again reminding you of the incredible promotions that are coming up. So, yes, we start with a ghost runner at the crease. There's a ghost runner hanging out at the yellow line, waiting to run in extra time. Oh my gosh,
I like it.
Thursday is an opening night. Thursday was supposed to be opening day in Major League Baseball. Baseball screwed up. So it is now an opening night. The night of no, I also call this one the night of no excuses. If you live in San Diego County, you have no excuse not to come to the Soccers and Tropics. Oh, parking's too expensive? Parking's free, jerk. Get on into the arena. Oh, tickets are too much. Tickets are $5. Tickets are $5. What are you talking about? They're too expensive. They're $5.
How about you don't?
All right.
How about you don't buy that one Big Mac during the week and just come out to a Soccers game instead, jerk?
Exactly. Give me a break. Hey, what? Oh, but beer. I can't. Once I get there, I can't. $2 Bud Lights, man. Wake up. Read the graphic. It's right there. But I'm a Padres fan. I don't even like. I'm going to give you a pint glass. Just walk in the door. Because if you show up in Padres gear to Thursday's game while supplies last, you will receive a Soccers Championship pint glass that you can fill with a $2 beer and drown your sorrows. Because Tatis is hurt and we're not picked to finish in first place. But that's okay. The Soccers are. It's an opening night. $5 tickets, free parking, $2 beers, get a free pint glass. Get in here. What's your excuse? I've taken them all away.
I promise you're going to use that pint glass way more than you're going to use that beach towel. All right? I'm just saying. You're going to use it way more. I'm using mine 100%. Right now, actually. There it is. See?
An opening night. That is Thursday. The forgotten game is Sunday. We haven't forgotten, though. Sunday is an important game. Again, we remind you, 12:30 is the Soccers 2 playoff game against RGV, Rio Grande Valley Barracudas. By the way, I'm going to be broadcasting that game on Facebook. Nate Abrea busy with Loyal PA. So he will be pulling in at game time. But I will be on the call on Facebook Live, 12:30 for Soccers 2 RGV. 3:00 in the parking lot is a Soccer's Fan Fest, Jerry. And I happen to know Calafino Tequila will be there. There's going to be Cravery Cookies out there. There's going to be a taco truck out there. So there's going to be some fun stuff in addition to face painting and 2 jumpy houses for the kids. Chula Vista PD is going to be outside. A lot of stuff happening at the Fan Fest from 3 to 5 o'clock. All fans receive a Zé Roberto t-shirt jersey that commemorates his great career and a 5-time champion here in San Diego, hoping to be a 6-time champion before he hangs them up. And then at 5:05, the Sockers and Ontario Fury kick. I've got one more teaser for you that I've not shared publicly anywhere else. The San Diego State Pep Band will be there on Sunday on Fan Appreciation Day and performing in the stands.
Nice.
So we're going to have the Aztec Pep Band. Of course, the Aztec basketball season, it did not go into extra time. It stopped after 1 round of the tournament. It's very sadly so. But so now they're free, and we've been talking to them all year about could you come out at the end of the year? And the answer is yes. So I know they've got over 20 people committed to come out and play. So it's going to be a huge, great atmosphere with the Aztecs Pep Band there, playing in timeouts and, reveille or da-da-da-da-da or whatever, like maybe they can do the Zorba the Greek horns like back in the day. That would be incredible. So all of that, so much fun, all coming up this week. And then boom, just like that, we're into the playoffs. I'll tell you, because I know if the Sockers play Ontario in the first round, first game going to be on Tuesday.
Ugh. I don't like that, but okay. I'll take it.
A quick turnaround. It would be Sunday, play them. Tuesday, go play them up there. And then it'll be back here, of course, on April 10th. One last question to wrap things up, but this is a good one because this actually just changed today. John San Diego 619 asking, is Randy Jones still coming on Thursday? No. He was. He had a family matter pop up. He called me today, offered his regrets. Bobby Cressy, however, on the Hammond organ, playing all the tunes, 100% confirmed. In fact, when the players are leaving the floor at the start of halftime, Bobby's going to play Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
There you go.
Chance to get up, play those tunes, and have a lot of fun. That is coming up on Thursday. Jerry, that wraps up this week's edition of Soccer's Overtime, Season 4, Episode 21, Battle for the Shield. The Shield is so close, man. I want to hold that thing. Is it going to be, does it have straps inside? Can we ward off attacks with the shield?
Like Captain America or something?
That's what I'm saying.
Ooh.
Does it bounce? If you throw it, does it like bounce off things and come back to you like a boomerang?
Ooh, that'd be interesting. We have to
Can
try
we
it out.
Try it and find out?
We're going to find out. Oh, man.
Let's do this.
We're
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
The commissioner hands the shield to Phil. Phil hands it to Adrian. Adrian hands it to Cowboy. Cowboy hands it to Craig. Craig hands it to me. I throw it off the post. Why didn't it bounce back? You mean it's not made of vibranium?
Why did you give this to us then?
Why did they let us get away with this? It'll be the question that everyone is asking right afterwards. All right, that does it for the show. Want to say special thanks, of course, to our guest, Eduardo El Vaquero Velez. Jerry, let everyone know if you're still doing that kind of thing, where they can find you, where they can follow you.
Yeah, go and check me out on social media at Cheeto Jerry, wherever, all social medias. Be my friend. Come hang out. Also, make sure you're following the San Diego Sockers. I'll tell you that every single week. If you're not already following the Sockers, I don't know what you're doing, but you can see my work as well as Craig's work every single day on Instagram and on Twitter. And JG, I do have to give a shout out as well to the one and only Mr. JG, because he does so much. So yeah, go follow us on social media if you're not already. I don't know what you're doing, but thank you for being here. I see we have a much bigger audience today. Maybe it's the fact that MASL switched over to Twitch, Craig. I don't know, but I'm loving it. Thanks to everybody for being here.
Yeah, thanks for everyone to be on Twitch. Hey, while you're here on Twitch, don't forget follow at MASL_soccer, at MASL_soccer2, at MASL_soccer3, at MASL_soccer4, because they have 4 channels here on Twitch that they could be showing 4 games on. And as long as you follow the channel, right? Boom, you get those instant notifications in your phone. You'll know when every game goes live, and you'll be able to follow along. For Jerry Jimenez at Cheeto Jerry, I'm Craig Elston. You can follow me on Twitter at 619 Sports. You can follow me on Instagram at 619 Sports and Life. We will talk to you live on Twitch at MASL_soccer with the game broadcast Thursday at 7:30. Until then, for Jerry, I'm Craig saying have a great middle of your week and go Sockers.